So the first book I have for you guys is Just Friends by Haley Pham. And I wanted to start out with this book because it's the book that's the freshest on my mind. So that's why I really want to get this book out of the way, because this is like my most recent read. And I absolutely love this book. There's a lot of like stuff going on around this book and certain opinions because of who she is and blah blah blah, but I just read this book like I read any other book, just reading the book. This book follows Blair and Declan, and basically they're childhood best friends to lovers and to strangers. Basically, if you enjoy that, you will definitely enjoy this book. Definitely. I love me a good contemporary romance book that teaches me something throughout the way. There are lots of themes of grief in this book, and honestly, I love Haley's writing. I honestly truly do, and I love how she wrote this book. And there's dual timelines, and it's not like a lot of dual timeline. It's maybe half the book, which honestly I didn't have a problem with it because I'm not a really big dual timeline girly, especially if it gets kind of confusing and some people just like mess it up and they don't know it. But I feel like Haley did it really well. This is one of my this is like my favorite most recent read. Like seriously, I read this book in 2 days, and I haven't read a book in 2 days in a long time. It's been a long time since I've read a book in 2 days. It would have been 1 day if I would have started this book on an off day, because that's how quick, easy to read this book was, easy to follow. It was a beautiful story. Like I said, childhood best friends to lovers to strangers, back to lovers. So if you like that, if you love that, then you will honestly love this book. And obviously I'm not gonna keep saying like clean, this book is clean, this book, every book I say in this video, like, it's gonna be clean. Like, I don't read books that have spice in it or have too much cursing in it, and this book in particular, I'm pretty sure there was no cursing in it. I feel like I would have remembered that and noted that, but there was no cursing, no spice, just a sweet, cute contemporary romance that I love, that was, like I said, had things of grief, but I just love books that teach me something and that I can relate to. And this also made me realize that I really do love when the female character is kind of like that, has like that older sister vibe, and she's like, even though she's like an only child, but like she just likes to, like, she wants to take care of her mom. I don't want to say too much because I want you to go and read the book yourself and find out all this stuff for yourself, but I just love a book like that where I just really love the characters. And yeah, so this is my first one, and go read Just Friends by Haley Pham. The next book I have is Beyond Ivy Walls by Rachel Fordham. I've mentioned this in another video before, but I just absolutely love this book so much. It is a historical, it's set in, what time is it? It's set in Iowa 1903, and we follow Otis and Sadie. And Otis, this book is kind of like based, it's not like based off of, but it like has themes, like the same themes of Beauty and the Beast, if it makes sense. Otis is the Beast, Sadie is the Beauty, but like Sadie is going through a lot of personal things with her family and her life, and she's trying to figure all that out. And then she meets Otis along the way, and he's this mysterious person who's got a lot going on. And I really don't want to say too much about Otis because I really want you to find out everything about Otis yourself, because that's how I did. You know, like when you buy a book and then like you don't read it immediately. It's very rare that I buy a book and then like I read it immediately, unless it's like a book I've been like anticipating. But it's always a while before I actually read the book, and then like I just don't read the back again. So I just like forget what the book is about, and then I just go into the book basically blindly. So that's why I try not to tell a lot of stuff in my reviews, whatever, recommendations, because it's so fun going into books blindly. This is a very sweet romance. There are some Christian themes in this for my Christian girlies. This book is very cozy and classic, and like I said, it's the most historical. That's why I love historical romances, because most of them are just cozy and classic. And this one included, like I said, there are a few faith themes in this as well. And if you love all those things, then you will love this book. So go read it. Go, go, go. Who's next? Go, go, Harry. Go, Harry. Go, Harry. Go, Harry. All right. Next book I have, ooh, I love this book. I read this book so long ago and I reread it recently and I still love it just like how I loved it the first time I read it. And it is Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joya Goffney. I hope I said her name right. I really hope I said her name right. This book, it's a YA romance, and I love me a YA romance where the characters look like me. You will see that theme a lot throughout some of the YA books I have, because I intentionally do that because I feel like there should be more YA books starring characters of color. But it's really, for me, it's Quinn. Quinn is the main character in this book, and she has this journal and she is uploading her journal, and it's basically about her path to finding who took her journal and who's blackmailing her. And Carter, this guy who she does not like, I forgot how, oh yeah, he was the last known person to have her journal, and that's how Carter got involved. And Carter is this guy who she thinks, you know how it is, she thinks he's cute, but she's also very annoyed by him and she doesn't like him for reasons that you will find out. And my favorite thing from this book though was the list theme. It made this book so freaking fun, just the list. And sometimes it just makes me want to just be that person who just makes a list of everything. And literally hold on, yeah, it's called her list journal, and list throughout the book. That was probably my favorite thing about this book was the list, and it was just fun and it was sweet and it's cute. Go read it. And it's just about two young adults figuring out themselves, figuring out life, and it all starts with this journal though. So yeah, it all starts with the journal. It all starts with the journal. And speaking of YA romance starring, black characters, it really made me think of this book. I didn't really plan on mentioning this book, but I did because I thought of this book. And this is another sweet contemporary, not contemporary, but young adult romance. And this one is about Chloe and Eli. And Chloe basically wants to go to dance school, and her mom says no more dance school, so she goes on this trip to this audition. And Eli basically joins her on this ride, and then you go on the journey of discovering what happened between her and Eli and why she has this beef with Eli. And just two young, like I said, another one where it's two young adults just figuring out themselves. And I really like this one in particular because it's about never giving up on your dreams, no matter what happens and no matter what happens in life. And I feel like sometimes I get the biggest lessons out of the cutest books like this. When you see a book like this, you're not gonna think of oh, this book is probably not gonna teach me a lot, or it's not gonna I'm not gonna learn a lot from this book. But you really can learn a lot about yourself from young adult books and just fiction books in general. And I feel like that's something that's not talked about enough, is how we can really learn about a lot about ourselves from fiction books and about life through fiction books. So yeah. And this one is by Christina Forrest. I'm pretty sure this is I have three Christina Forrest books on my shelf. So Christina Forrest is that girl for me. I love everything she writes pretty much. And another book I have for you is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. Another one of the books that I've read more recently, and I read it on Kindle. The next few books that I am about to mention, I did read on Kindle Unlimited, and I don't have them physically, but when I do get to a point where I can splurge on books and get books that I've already read and that I just want to have on my shelf, these are the book. All the books that I'm about to say, like those are gonna be books that I want to buy physically. So, but when I actually did not know a lot about this book when I picked it up, and rightfully so. I did assume that the bodyguard was gonna be the male character, but the bodyguard was the woman, and she's portrayed as this tiny woman as well. Well, they're not super tiny, but you know how bodyguards are, and then you see her and like, oh, really? You're the bodyguard. But this book we are following Hannah, and Jack is a celebrity, and this is just one of those books where it's like forced proximity, and it's like they start fake dating, and she's his bodyguard, and they eventually, you know where it's gonna go eventually, where they start developing these feelings for each other. And like when I picked up this book, I really just didn't expect to enjoy it that much, which is really why I really put it on this list, because I did enjoy this book much better than I thought it would. I thought it was just gonna be, you know, same old, because sometimes when I'm picking up romance books, I know what I'm getting myself into, and I'm in the mood to read that kind of book. But this book, it kind of like impressed me, and it was a little better, which is why it was like 4.5. So if you enjoy the celebrity trope, which I personally never do, I heard this book is being turned into a movie, so I'm actually interested to see this book getting turned into a movie. But yes, so yeah, fake dating, celebrity romance. I think it's also a bit of opposites attract. So if you're wanting to read a romantic comedy, then read this book. And then I have The One with the Kiss Cam by Cindy Steele. And I actually really want to read more of Cindy Steele's books. This is the only one I've read by her, but I literally gave this book like 5 stars. Like, it takes a lot for me to give a book like 5 stars that's like just a romance book. Okay, The One with the Kiss Cam reminds me of all my favorite movies. We're following Duke and Nora. The biggest thing I remember about this book is that it was funny. It was funny, hilarious. Like the beginning of the book, like I remember like exactly what happened in the beginning of the book, and that whole like scene, like how they met and all that, is just like it, best meet cute, W meet cute. I loved it. I loved it. Like I just remember Nora having to struggle with hope and fear, and how you have to choose between hope and fear. And it just, like I said, I love a contemporary romance that's just like so deep, because like it's portrayed as like this cute little giggly little romance, and it is, but it's also teaching you this life lesson that's so important about life and the choices that we make. I love this book, if you cannot tell. So yeah, like I'm trying to think of like the tropes, but like it's just like a great meet cute. It's a great romantic comedy, and they have like their kiss on this kiss cam goes like viral, and it's just funny and sweet and cute. Like from there on, in the beginning of the book, like it just turns into this great romantic comedy, and everything I just said before about life and hope and fear and the choices that we make. Like, it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful book. And it was also fun. I love me a good fun book. Like it's fun. You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking about Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry. Like that book was fun. It was fun to read. This book was also one for me that was like fun to read as well. Then the next book I have is If All Else Sells by Emma St. Clair. And this book has one of my favorite tropes of all time. I think childhood best friends is slowly becoming one of my favorite, especially because of that book I just read by Haley. But I've never read a book that has best friends brother on it that I haven't loved. Like I haven't. Best friends brother trope, I'm gonna eat it up every time. I'm gonna eat it up every time. And it's also Grumpy Sunshine. Grumpy Sunshine, like it's usually like a hit or miss. Like I usually either really love it or I really hate it, because there's a way to do that trope not like very bad. And I read books like that and I just erased it from my brain. But it's best friend's brother, Grumpy Sunshine, and they're basically forced proximity. They're tricked into spending the summer together. If that alone didn't make you want to read this book, like that alone makes you want to read the book, right? I know it does. I know. And I believe it's Josie and Wyatt. And fun fact, another thing that might get you to read this book is Wyatt is a hockey player. So if you like hockey, you can also add that into you can add that as well into it. This book was just funny, laugh out loud, romantic comedy, like romance, just everything I loved combined into one book. It was a clean, fun, closed door romance, and I loved every second of it. And Emma St. Clair is one of those authors for me that I haven't read a book that she doesn't. I haven't read a book by her that I didn't like. And she's also a Christian, and she writes clean romance. And I love when I see like the behind the scenes of like why Christian authors have chosen to write clean romance, because you know, sometimes, like, here's my little tangent of the day, like, I know like as a Christian you like want to write Christian romance, but it's so interesting to see like there's Christian authors out there writing just like clean romance books, and I can honestly see why you can reach a totally different level of people writing those type of books, if that makes sense. But that's a little tangent of mine, but I just love Emma St. Clair, and I love this book, and you should totally go read it. Yeah, it's spring, we're going into summer, so this book is just get you right in the mood for the sun's coming out. So yes, go read it, all of those. Back to the last two physical books I have The Nature of Love by Toni Shiloh, and this book for me is the perfect Christian romance, and I love Toni Shiloh, and I really want to read everything that she's ever written ever. This is one of her most, but I want to say this is one of her more recent ones. I've heard like her older ones aren't as Christian based as these are, but this was portrayed to me as a Christian romance, and it is a Christian romance, and we're following Erica and Christian. Erica is a doctor, and Christian is like this wildlife enthusiast. So to me, that's kind of like opposites attract, but it's definitely like friends to lovers. Actually, maybe strangers to friends to lovers, because I don't know, do you include that, like strangers friends to lovers? I don't know, that's kind of weird, because how else are they gonna start? But I'm talking crazy. I'm talking crazy now. Anyway, but Erica is not a believer currently. Christian is a very firm believer, and this is like, I'm pretty sure this is a part of a series. It says A Love in the Spotlight novel. Is that the name of the series though? Basically, they are older, so this is not no young book, but they're both older and have been through life, and something very sad does happen in this book. Yes, and Erica gets thrown into a situation that she never thought she would get thrown into before, and Christian is probably the greatest friend on earth for helping her the way she has. And you know, they eventually, you know, yeah, and Erica also goes on her journey to discovering God and who he is, and bring that relationship back, which is also another aspect of this book that I love. This is a romance where faith is actually a part of the story and actually a big part of the story, but it's still sweet and uplifting and great and not cringy in any type of way. This is a book for you. Toni Shiloh is the author for you, so yes. And then we have the book that I'm sure has been in like every clean Christian romance book recommendation video ever, and that is Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. I hesitated. I was like, I'm not gonna put this here because everybody always talks about this book, but I just feel like the one person clicked on this video and have never heard of this book, that's who I'm doing this for. This is based off of the book of Hosea in the Bible, and we follow Angel and Michael. Angel and Michael. This is a 6-star if I've ever seen a 6-star book in my life. If you really want to know how much God loves you, it is portrayed perfectly. I'm not gonna say perfectly, that's great, but it's pretty good. It's portrayed pretty good in this book, and I don't want to say anything about the book because you just need to go and read this book. Check the trigger warnings, because this Francine Rivers book, if you've read a Francine Rivers book before, her books can get a little heavy, so check the trigger warnings. But this is a beautiful book that I feel like every person in the world should read, but more importantly, every person in the Bible should go read. But more importantly, every person should go and read the book of Hosea in the Bible, because that is how much God loves us and how much he chases after us. The way she portrayed the characters of Angel and Michael and how she did it was just beautiful. And one of the biggest things I love about Francine Rivers is how she can make a story based off of a Bible story and not like unbiblical it, like make it like super unbiblical or like twist the word or something. She does it in such a great way where you are literally drawn to the Bible, not away from the Bible, and how the story like really just emphasizes the point that, you know, like the lesson that you learn from the book in the Bible, you learn that also in this book in the same way. And I feel like she does that just like really well. And Francine Rivers makes me want to like be an author. Like if that doesn't say, that says a lot, right? So yeah, this book will show you how much God loves you, okay? Because God does love you, whoever you are watching this video, for sure. And then the very last book I don't have physically, I read it on Kindle. It is Can't Help Falling by Courtney Walsh. And let me just say something about Courtney Walsh. I know I said all that stuff about Emma St. Clair, and I love Emma St. Clair as well, but Courtney Walsh, she's probably my favorite author. Her and Francine Rivers are probably like, just like this. Like, I just love everything she writes. Like, I literally have not read a Courtney Walsh book that wasn't 5 stars. 5-star read, 5-star. Just like, she's also the type of author that wants to want to be an author, because the way she writes, just clean, fun, contemporary romance where I just learned this great lesson about my life that I can take literally into my life. It's like the way she writes just kind of like reminds me like why I read. Because like we read, like sometimes when we read fiction books, I feel like all we're trying to do is like escape life and all this stuff, which is true. I feel like fiction teaches us so much about life and has themes and lessons in them that we can literally take into our lives, literally. Let me tell you about the book. I'm like going yeah, in this book we're following Emmy and Owen, and honestly I feel like if Emmy was like a real person in real life, we would be like best friends. She has this like podcast and she calls herself a hopeful romantic, and Owen is her best friend's brother. What can I say? What can I say? I feel like this video kind of exposed me that I love the best friend's brother trope. The main character in this book, she just really has a plan for like everything. She has like a plan, certain plan set out, and what happens to her really just makes us follow her on her journey of learning to let go of her plan. This isn't a Christian romance, but this is a clean romance. But of course I always find God in everything, of course. But it's just like basically learning to let go of her plan and like accepting the plan that is set in front of her by God. So it's really such a shame that I don't have a Courtney Walsh book like physically on my shelf, because every book I read by her, I've read it on Kindle Unlimited. And you know, if you ever see me laughing out loud on my phone or like giggling, it's probably because I'm reading a Courtney Walsh book. Like, it's not because of anything else. It's because I'm reading a Courtney Walsh book. Oh yeah, and I also forgot, Emily literally owns a bookshop. Like, Emmy is literally like me. Like, that's like, I want to be owning a bookshop in the future. I want to have a podcast. Like, literally, like, I would literally be her, like, best friend. And basically, Owen is, like, back in town. And, you know, we go on this journey, like I said, of finding out what happened between the two of them. But also, we find out something else of what happens to Emmy and her journey, like I said, of learning to let go. And I really like Owen. Sometimes I feel like I kind of like dismiss the male characters in these books because like they're just like there. Like I usually, yeah, I'm more like related. I can more relate to the female characters, so I obviously that's what I remember. But Owen was just like a perfect, great depiction of a man who knows how to love a woman well and takes care of her. And that reminds me of like God's love and how I know God wants me to be loved and how we're meant to be loved. So yeah, I really liked his character, which also made this book like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stars. I'm pretty sure I read this book in one day. I devoured it. Like I said, I read this on my phone, giggling and laughing, loved it. Even talk about this book right now makes me want to go reread it, literally. But I will reread it whenever I get a physical copy of it, which will probably be very soon, because every single book I talked about in this video needs to be physically on my shelf. This is basically a TBR shelf at this point. But that's neither here nor there. If you're looking forward to seeing me read all these books on my shelf, subscribe to my channel, because lots of book vlogs, book things coming. So but yeah, best friend Feather, he's also a firefighter, by the way. Owen is a firefighter, if you wanted to know that. Yeah, that is basically all I have for you guys today. I really wanted to do this video because, like I said, I've been on this journey of rebuilding my bookshelf and reading books that honor the Lord and don't pull me away from him. I feel like books are just made to make me laugh and giggle and have fun, and it's always a bonus when it's a Christian book and it has faith in it, or when it just simply teaches me something great about life that I can take into my actual life and make myself like literally a better person. So those are just like bonuses, but I feel like books aren't meant to be like this dark thing and this sad thing. Like there can be sad books that have like redemption on the end. I want to read to honor the Lord, and all these books push me either towards the Lord, or it was just something that made my days simply just better, laughing and giggling. And I'm yapped out. This video is probably gonna be much longer than I think it is. I always think I'm gonna have a short video, and it's always a very, very long video. But drop all your favorite clean romance books, Christian romance books down below, and give me some more books, because obviously I need more books on my shelf. Obviously you don't see the lower part though. The lower part is actually not that full like as this is, so I actually have room. But thank you so much for being here. Like this video and share with a friend who needs it, and I will see you guys in another video very, very soon. Bye.